Just introduce yourself one at a time.
Hi, I'm Alexis Hayes.
I'm Dakota McReynolds.
And here we are at the con. And even though it's a great con, and there again we have the fandoms and the geekdoms and the freakdoms apparently. What do you feel about the whole bashing that we seem to get based off of what we like to do?
I feel like it's ridiculous because we get called losers and we're getting made fun of for doing something that we love, even though there's nothing wrong with it.
Look, going out just around the town, you know, I may not be in a lot of costume, or really any costume right now. Friends of mine going out, we get looks, we get a lot of attention, and that's what we're going for, but we're not going for the bad attention. Like, the whole reason we're here is to have fun, you know, good fun. I don't know why freaks and geeks, you know, we're con goers, and that's it.
Yeah, you sort of hear all of the negativity that they want to try and bash us with in the whole deviance or freaks, or it's awkward, it's immature, it's irresponsible, they're a bunch of drug users, they're a bunch of losers, they're a bunch of unemployed mama boys. That whole thing that you hear about, that you see in Big Bang Theory, that you see in the Guild,
Or
that you
girls
see.
cosplay.
Yes, and what does that make you feel like when it comes to those and they try and compare us to that?
It's just, I feel angry because we get called things like sexual deviants because we enjoy dressing up like furries, or we get called, what else would we get called? Sexual deviance is the main thing.
Okay, a lot of people will group us as like massive drug users, and that doesn't make any sense. Like, half of these people, you know, go to a good school. I work 40 hours a week, so I can save up money to go to school. Like, I don't do anything other than work and this. Get ready for this. Play games. I like to watch anime. That's it.
So when you're talking about that, and you're talking about the normal people that go to basketball games, go to NASCAR, go to football games, hockey games, dress up as mascots, dress up as their favorite player, wear their sports memorabilia, buy their trinkets and all this other stuff. What makes us any different than that for the whole fandom issue?
I don't think there's much of a difference, other than maybe our costumes are a little bit more elaborate.
I think a lot of our stuff is more, a lot of it, not all of it. We do a full session of the day. It's all PG-13. You can feel safe to bring your kids to these events. You know, it's not like it's going to be, oh, whoa, everybody here is drinking. There's none of that here. And I think that's great, because you go to a football game, half the people there are going to be drinking. NASCAR, half the people there are going to be drinking. You don't have to worry about that at all hours here. But I mean, we do go all day long, and there are special times that we clear out minors and we're allowed to do more adult things, and it's
A good system.
yeah, we're careful about that.
Now, when you look at that, and you look at the parents that drag their kids to the football, basketball, all this other stuff, but yet in the same instance, when it comes to this, they say it's fine for the kids to go here with the parents, but the parents are on the sidelines looking from like the outside in, and they're looking at people our ages saying there's something wrong there. How do y'all feel about that?
I don't know. I don't think that makes very much sense to me, because I see kids here all the time. Like, they dress up in costume with their parents, and then I don't know.
talked to a lady yesterday. She was in a panel with us. She was a mother, and she talked about how being a mother affected her abilities to attend the cons, but she was like, yeah, I'm not going to force my kids to get into these, but I would love it. And I wish more people were really accepting of, it's like, oh, they want to do this? Yeah, that's their life. Because I get dressed in a jersey to go to the game next week. It's really the same thing. It's what we do in our spare time for our enjoyment.
So in all of that, when you're looking at it from literally us, the inside, actually looking out at their outside looking in, we literally look at it as a mirror and a way of sitting there going, y'all are bashing us, but y'all shouldn't be saying anything with the way we could be bashing y'all, and y'all would actually still find that prideful, because it would be a badge of honor for you to dress up in orange and blue paint, in case of Clemson or something along those lines, or say red and blue for Jeff Gordon or something along those lines is fine. But me doing gray paint and blood and gore for a zombie at a older age than, say, 13 is demented.
Yeah, no, it's they want to paint themselves, get a bunch of guys paint the letters on their chests. We want to paint ourselves gray and put candy corn horn on our heads. That's exactly what we want to do, and it's the same thing. It's on the same level.
I feel like they put us down for that because we seem to be more passionate about it, or it's more extreme in certain cases because of our costumes and our painting.
I feel like really we're just more involved. Like we're more involved with what we like to do than they could ever really be. It's not like you can get down and you can play in the game, but we can get right up to the actors. Most of the actors are great people. We can get up, we can talk to them. At SuCon, they took the voice of Mario out to dinner. They paid for his dinner. He was a great guy, and that's not something that they can do. They can be like, oh, we'll treat you to dinner. The players aren't really going to go for that. You'd be hard-pressed to find a place. It's like, yeah, I'll meet you right after this. The voice actors for Goku and Krillin told the fans that they'd be eating at Denny's after Yamacon. They gave them, I don't remember the time slot, but Denny's was packed for a solid 3 hours. Because they were there meeting their fans, eating with the fans. That, we get to do that. They couldn't do that if they wanted to.
So when it comes to something like that, and we get to meet our fans on a face-to-face level, do you find that a little bit intimidating in their fandom that they can't do that? And do you feel like that's one of the reasons for the bullying, is that we're considered special, or we are considered entitled because of that?
I think that might be part of it. And another part of how they don't like us is because maybe because they think anime and sci-fi is childish to like, and for like people 14 and up to like it and to be passionate about it, it's just uncalled for.
Do you think that the arguments that we hear are actually overspread by the media? Because when you consider the fact being that an argument breaks out of some sort or other on Big Bang Theory of, say, Star Trek versus Star Wars, or you have something in the line of one fandom versus another, and I see that, and they're making it into a parody.
Yes,
but
that's a very common thing for media to do. Like, I've always hated that about like Big Bang Theory and just other TV programs like that.
And us being the geeks, us being those guys, and yet in the same instance, I know just from my experience, that's one of the reasons I can't watch it. Even though, like, the first and second seasons I did watch. I enjoyed it. I felt like I was a part of who they were until it was pushed too far. And then from there, okay, they were being insulted, and to insult them meant insulting me. And in that, I felt like it should have been something more justified in the television show, but yet I don't feel like it's justified at all in that, because it is a comedy. And like with Yaya Han's whole thing and the bad aspects that were being put into for them, it's the same thing.
Right.
And I don't understand that, because I thought we would be justified, or we would be obligated in one way or another in who we are. And it doesn't seem like that's the case. Instead, it seems more like we're adding fire to the already blazing flame that says we're wrong or we're different. And do you think that in of itself is what the media feeds off of?
That is especially what the media feeds off of. Like, I hear, like in Big Bang Theory, I really hate this show. In Big Bang Theory, I see, like, extreme versions of the nerd life, unquote, unquote. And, I don't know. Go ahead.
Like, talking to some of the guys from the panels about the show Heroes of Cosplay.
Oh yeah, there was actually a panel called Controversies in the, what was it called? Controversies in the Convention World, something like that. And it talked about how the media does perpetuate how nerds always like fight against each other, fandom to fandom, geek to geek, and how it always makes it out to be like some extreme version of our lives, but it isn't.
Like, and they were talking about the editing of the show and actually meeting a lot of people from the show and how these people are like so nice to each other. And you know, I mean, of course it's a competitive thing, but you know, it's not like they're gonna go and backstab this other guy on the show. Like, they know each other, you know. And I don't know, well, I know the reason they do it. It's for the ratings, to keep the show on the air. But it doesn't need to be like that. It needs to be like, and they even said this, it needs to be like more of a documentary. That, I feel like that would work so much better. You'd get a lot more information, and you know, it may actually make you want to go to some convention to talk to some of these people if you don't just think they're these backstabbing costume designers that are out there just to put themselves out there. Yeah, that's not what they're there for completely. Yeah, they're there to win. Well, one of the reasons they're there is to show off their costume, you know. You want that appreciation, but they're there to meet the fans. And
see, I don't see, when it comes to a really good cosplayer, he's going to get attention.
Oh, yeah.
He knows he's going to get attention. Ain't that just the validation of the work he already put into it?
Yeah.
And I've talked to people who have really good cosplays, and all they are nice. They give me tips on how to make a better cosplay or how to do my makeup better, and it's just really great. Like, I've met the nicest people at conventions.
Like, I never, ever, ever have met someone that's in a great costume and it's just rude, or you know, they seem like a bad person. They're always the best people to talk to because they're so nice, and they're like, oh, yeah, let me devote, you know, 5 minutes of my time to tell you things that you may want to know, or things that may help you in the future. It's like they're not out for themselves. They're not. It's like, here, I want you to be as good as I could be. They're always helpful like that.
So, in all of this, and, you know, we know just in personal experience of how helpful and how friendly people are. So if that's the case, then why is it that you every once in a while see the guy that goes to a con that doesn't blend in, doesn't mix in, but in the same instance bashes the whole con off of just not even trying?
I've never come across anyone who does that. But, I don't know. I feel like maybe they just haven't been a part of the community long enough to really understand and appreciate how it truly is. So they mock or bash it by calling us freaks or weirdos or elitists. It's pretty terrible when that happens because it puts a bad face on the community as a whole.
And I mean, of course you're going to have these few people that may be in costume that may not be the nicest person, but that's not just because they're in costume. They're probably like that all year around, and just that's how people are. You're not going to have 100 out of 100 people be excellent people. There's nothing to it. It's just it's it.
So when you hear all the negative, and I mean, you hear it. The drug users, they're deviants, they're cussers, they're freaking gamers. That's all they do. That's all they spend their time on. That's all they spend their money on. That whole thing, and I think South Park is one of the ones that did the biggest one of them all getting fat, sitting in front of a computer. Yes. Do you see us as a community even coming close to that?
No, not even a little.
Not even a little.
So where do you think they got that whole picture from in the first place?
I feel like it's one of the things, like, to hear someone talk about playing or doing something like playing World of Warcraft. Like, if you want to play that game and you want to put time into it, because you can sink hours and hours of your life into World of Warcraft, and I have, and I love it, and it's fun. But if I were to go up to someone that doesn't play something like that and I tell them about it, they're like, wow, you spent all of your time on this. It's like, you must have no life. And I'm like, no, I still have a job, and I was going to school, and like, things were great. And that's just what I like to do in my spare time. I don't watch TV. I don't know what's going on. Like, I catch the news on World of Warcraft. People get on there and they're just like, hey, did you hear about this thing that happened? Because you should read up on that. And you don't, that's all that you want to do. Like, it's like, oh, I heard on World of Warcraft that some big event in real life happened, and you don't need to go outside the game. So I'm guessing they just think, it's like, they don't leave their computer. They're there 24/7.
In this type of community, I hate to say it, we do help each other a lot. There's been charity events, there's been blood donations, there's been food drives during the cons, and we've done plenty of work for con goers that have lost costumes, that have lost families, that have lost Christmas presents, anniversary gifts, the whole 9 yards. Do y'all know of any personal experiences of that actually happening?
I've never had anything really personal like that. I donated like $2 once to get this kid to Comic-Con to meet one of his idols. But I've heard about a bunch of Kickstarters and things that help families who've lost their homes or something, because someone in the fandom knows them and put the word out there.
Like she said, never in person, although not able to make it to big events all that often, but all the time online it's like, hey, a friend of mine's going through a bad time, I'm trying to help him out, donate a penny, and send this guy, buy his plane tickets for him, because people are generous. And if you're not asking for much, that's the best way to do it. It's like, hey, he just wants, it's like, I want him to enjoy himself for just a little bit because right now he can't. And people are willing to do that, and it happens a lot more than you would think.
So do you see anybody in the communities of football, basketball, or NASCAR with the competitions that they go through doing something similar to what we do on a personal level versus the whole public level that they do it at?
I'm sure some of them do, but I've never really read anything about it, but I'm not very involved. But I'm sure there are a few cases. I don't think, I'm biased, so I don't think there were all that many. At least not for, like, they're not just their non-own, like, just their own, like, it also helps them personally, like, publicity-wise. Trying to figure out how to say that.
I'm also biased. I'm not into that kind of thing. I don't imagine seeing them, although I'm sure that's what they think of us. It's like I can't think about them, being these great people and raising all these donations for
Okay, so with all of that going on, and all of the bad stuff that happen at a con that we get publicized for, saying that it's our fault, what would you say to the moms that use that as a defense as to why their kids shouldn't go?
It happens everywhere. It's not just at conventions. It seems like it happens a lot more at conventions because it's large groups of 2,000, 4,000 people in one room, one building together, and a bunch of them are, dressed kind of scantily, or like it's just a bunch of people who don't know each other and know anything about each other, so anything could happen.
But we also have like entire cities that riot and destroy sections of the city over, we won a sports cup. Yeah, destroying entire portions of the city, tearing down stadiums, two teams getting in fights inside of stadiums. I've seen videos that like fans have collapsed the fences that go up around the fields. I mean, I've never experienced anything like that at a con, and I don't really think that I ever would.
Well, y'all have been awesome. Just introduce yourself one more time.
Hey, this is Alexis Hayes.
And I'm Dakota McReynolds.
And we will see you at the next con.